So when my husband passed away, I went back to school just to get healthy.
Yeah.
I was so not healthy. I was so exhausted. I didn't even know how I was going to get myself to keep going with these two girls at home at 10 and 7 and like get them healthy and not have us both, all three of us, be afraid of cancer.
Yeah.
So that's how it all kind of started. And then once I got into it and started feeling good and doing some of the modalities and things that I was learning, I had never felt better. So it just kind of one thing led to another.
And snowballed, and
Yeah.
now you're basically levitating and glowing.
Exactly.
And you are the picture of vibrant health.
Thank
And,
you. I know, I've never felt better. And like, I do want to be a spokesperson for people who age. 63, and like, I didn't feel good all my life. I was always behind the 8 ball, always tired, always, craving sugar, caffeine. I had 2 parents that were very type A, and they were up at 5 and they finished like what they had to do by 8 a.m. And here I was, just dragging and feeling emotionally not like I could keep up, and also physically, and it was hard. And now I don't feel that way. So,
and just because of the cancer diagnosis, like what kind of cancer were you diagnosed with? How did you intuitively know to choose the alternative or maybe more holistic path? And then for your husband to be diagnosed as well, did you think it was like an environmental, a location thing? Tell me
Great questions.
What you woke up to in that process.
So when I was diagnosed, I did not even know I had cancer. I was getting a massage, and the masseuse felt a lymph node on my collarbone. So thank God for the masseuse, because she was like, you're not supposed to have a swollen lymph node on your collarbone. Go get that checked out. And I did. And the doctor, even when I walked in and he felt it, he was like, oh my God, this could be cancer. It was really, the way doctors treat you, as you know, they scare the living daylights out of you. They're not very warm and like, cancer is a word that scares everyone. But the lucky thing for me was I went to see 3 doctors. The third one was a radiologist oncologist at St. John's. And he sat me down and he said, it was an early stage, so like a 1A. And he goes, what's going on with your life? Are you stressed? Are you happy?
That's an amazing doctor.
Oh my God.
They don't normally, that way before the...
Before the time. I mean, like, are you happy with your life, your work, all of it? And I remember bursting into tears like, I don't even know what happy is. I don't know what not being stressed is. I just had lived in this like fight or flight mode and constantly on that treadmill trying to keep up. And I didn't know what calm or like feeling at peace. He's like, do you have any peacefulness in your life? And I'm like, what does that mean? So he was also really instrumental. And he said, let's get your emotional well-being under wraps, and like, let's get you some help there. And he even said, do yoga, meditation, go see a therapist for your mental well-being, which I did. I did all of that. The cool thing is, before that, my mom had asthma, and I was growing up in Arizona, and she used to go to this place called Rancho La Puerta. Okay. Do you know Rancho La Puerta?
I don't.
Wow, I'm shocked. It's in Tecate, Mexico.
Okay.
So I think that it was the first of its kind. It was a health ranch. So you'd go for a week and you were off the grid, no telephone. There was only one phone for the whole ranch. And there were probably about 50, 60 women that would go, mostly, not a lot of men. And you would hike, and you'd eat the food. It was plant-based. And you had massages, you had yoga, you had meditation. I mean, it was like way beyond its time too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really, I saw these women change in 7 days. They'd go depressed, not sleeping, definitely they had hormone issues, didn't really know about those in that time, but they were different women when they left. I mean, they were dancing on tables, they'd sometimes go into town, which was not too safe, and they were so happy, and they got that break from life, and they got to reset themselves. And so I saw what healthy food did for you, and then I also saw what like sort of slowing down and exercising and all of those things. So I had that in the back of what I grew up with, so I was lucky.
Wow.
So that's what I did when I got cancer. I juiced, I became a vegan, I started doing yoga. LA has everything.
Yeah.
Acupuncture, colonics, I did it all.
That's amazing.
I'm also a seeker, so I love to experiment.
Got it. And so because it was early stage, he wasn't too concerned, and he wasn't like, let's do chemo on Monday.
No. Okay. And he said, I chose to do half the radiation. So only because my family was all freaking out. Mm-hmm. They were like, if you don't do any treatment, they were really beside themselves. Mm-hmm. So I just, to appease them, I did half the radiation. And that was not so fun either because, that's when I got the hypothyroidism and got the Hashimoto's and still have an issue with my thyroid all these years later.
Wow.
30 years later, because it never goes back once it's radiated.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got myself back together, had the girls, and then when my husband was diagnosed, the sad thing about his is that his dad died when he was 2 of melanoma. So I think in his head in that early age, how a lot of times those first 7 years of your life, your subconscious is fully downloaded. I mean, I think he was terrified more so than me of the cancer and thought he would die. And that was how he approached it.
Really?
He was so scared.
Yeah, and he had that belief that it was a death sentence, and because he had that experience, he couldn't shake it.
No.
Probably.
We tried everything. We tried good food and all these holistic measures, but the cancer kept coming back. His was more aggressive. So mine was Hodgkin's, his was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it was a farther along stage. The doctor didn't catch it for 6 months. And, he did 2 bone marrow transplants in a year and a half, which is really unheard of. His immune system really couldn't take it.
Wow.
And he died of fungal pneumonia. So he didn't die from the cancer. It was really from the immune system.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
So sad.
It was crazy to see such a healthy man disintegrate in a year and a half.
Wow. And again, you guys both got diagnosed with lymphoma.
I know.
Is there something in your neighborhood that's awry? Like what?
I mean, the thing that I came up with was, I think it was just our emotional well-being. We were, we really didn't have a really high self-esteem of ourselves. I think we always kind of felt a little lesser than. We had to work hard. We had older siblings that were sort of the pride and joy of the family. And there was just a lot of stress in our life and a lot of trauma went on. I mean, and I feel like as we taught, as over these years and you learn about trauma and cancer and all the health issues that come along with it, I just feel like we just hadn't dealt with it. No one taught us how to do it. And we didn't get into therapy early. I think we just stored it all up, and I think we just downregulated our immune systems. And then also we were also just, all we thought about was, good job, making a lot of money, climbing the ladder. We had just moved to LA. So it was all about that. It wasn't about the emotional, well-being, which was really sad. But the interesting thing, Kelly, is a friend of mine came over after he passed away. We had moved into a new house in Hancock Park, and we had remodeled it. And she came over with her EMF machine. She was really wondering, what the heck? She just thought there was something.
Same.
Yeah, right. And when we tested his side of the bed, this is crazy, was off the charts high.
Whoa.
So I feel like when we remodeled, maybe the wiring in that where our bedroom was, because we remodeled the whole master, it wasn't grounded. And my side of the bed was fine.
Wow.
And then also downstairs in our family room where he sat and watched TV, it was off the charts high. I know. And I don't think that's the only thing, of course.
Yeah.
But I think along with the other things, not dealing with the emotional stuff and then maybe having that, sleeping under that.
I mean, for you to even test for EMF back then.
I know.
That's 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
That's wild.
I know.
Can she come to my house to tomorrow? Because I am concerned about it, but
right.
I for some reason, I just don't know which EMF radiation handheld to detect. I don't know. Yeah. Do you have any recommendations on how to check your house?
I will check with her. I mean, I have checked the house for things before, our new house now, but I will check with her and see. Yeah, I don't think she lives here anymore. She lives in New York, but
see if she has any recommendations for someone out here. Because I am curious. I take out all the Wi-Fi from our bedrooms.
Smart.
I
know. So smart.
But yeah, it's that invisible factor that is just so creepy.
Right. He also was, and I know I don't want to give this impression that sugar gives you cancer, because everyone says cancer feeds off of sugar, but he was a sugaraholic. He had this huge candy jar in his office, and he would eat it throughout the week. He also had to have dessert after every meal. He definitely loved sugar.
Yeah.
So, right. I mean, I'm sure that didn't help, but I don't think,
Or once it developed, it fed.
Right, exactly.
And maybe that was his body, the cancer was causing him to crave it. I don't know.
Who
knows?
Right, I know.
Thank you for listening to the Heal Podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. And please rate and review us so that we can grow and reach more people. Thanks so much, and be well.